Hello and welcome to Choose CHQ Live CHQ, a monthly program brought to you by the County of Chautauqua Industrial Development Agency and the Chautauqua County Partnership for Economic Growth. I'm your host, Jason Sample. This month, we're going to be talking about economic development in Chautauqua County and the important role that outdoor recreation plays in economic development. We're going to be talking about a key group that helps to make this possible. It's the Friends of the Chautauqua County Greenways. To learn more details about this group, we have three individuals in the studio joining us. They are Jacob Bodway, trail consultant with the partnership, Twan Leenders, Director of Conservation for Everwild Land Trust, formerly the Chautauqua Watershed Conservancy, and Jamie Reynolds from Chautauqua County Parks and Trails. Gentlemen, thanks for taking time out and talking with us today.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you here and to learn more about the Friends of Chautauqua County Greenways, what it is, how it works, and how it helps to grow the economy in Chautauqua County. I think when people think about economic development in Chautauqua County and growing the economy, outdoor recreation and trails might not be the first thing that comes to mind, but it is one of the key pillars of what we try to do to grow our economy, and that is placemaking, one of the key 5 pillars that we have. And obviously when you want to do placemaking, pointing people in the right direction to what can be done outdoors is a very important role. So we're going to talk more about that here. I think maybe a good place to start out with is just let's talk about the Friends group in a moment. First, I want to ask a general question. Why does outdoor recreation, and especially a focus on our natural environments and trails, play such an important role in economic development in our county? Let's answer that question. That's the $60,000 question, and maybe Jacob, you could take the first crack at it.
Sure. Well, a big reason why I live in Chautauqua County and moved back to Chautauqua County is because of the trails. And I think a part of the reason I am infatuated with Chautauqua County is because there are opportunities. The county is giving back in a way that helps me feel as though I'm part of a place. And that kind of feeling is very unique here, because I've lived in other places in Western New York and I never had the opportunity to give back, but also see the county invest in recreational opportunities in the way that Chautauqua County has over the last 5 or 6 years. So in terms of economic development, I'm more willing to spend my money in a place where I see the county spending money in things that I'm interested in. And for me, recreation is top of the list. So I think that's a big part of it.
Right. Twan, do you have any other thing you want to add to that?
Sure. I think I can mirror Jacob's sentiments in that our family moved here as well, largely because of just the beautiful green spaces, the beautiful scenery that's here. And, you know, I'm a biologist by training, so to me, the lushness, the beautiful presence of our natural resources, our forests, our rivers, our lakes, it's amazing. And it's also, in my mind, one of our most powerful resources to draw in additional outside interests. I think this is exactly what's going to bring more people from the outside here. You just look at what's happening in the world, right? Everybody's in drought and storms and hurricanes and earthquakes, you name it. We have none of that, but we do have these incredible natural resources, and the trail systems that are already in place and that are just getting better and better by the day allow more people to actually access that, enjoy that, and it's just part of the overall appeal of the county. It looks gorgeous, right? So the more we can get people out to enjoy this, the better.
Yeah, it's more than just bringing people here for tourism too. It's bringing people here to want to live and stay here. Absolutely. And having those outdoor amenities that are quality of life attractions that they might not have where they're originally from. So
Absolutely.
It's very important to highlight that. Jamie, do you have any other thoughts about the role that outdoors plays in placemaking and economic development?
Similar to what you just said, Jason, is that I think economic development is always focused so much on business and industry, but to complete the package and have a wonderful offering to people that might want to relocate and live here, you've got to have those outdoor recreation offerings.
Right, I know when talking with Mark Geisen, he's talking to a business they're trying to woo to come to Chautauqua County. The business might say, wow, that's great incentives. It's a great opportunity for us to set up shop here, but what can our workers do besides work at our shop? What can we do to attract families and people that want to live here? So
Exactly.
to have something like outdoor recreation and to highlight that is really a key item that we want to make sure we highlight when we're attracting businesses. So in order to make the most out of enhancing and promoting our outdoor attractions, we have what is known as the Friends of the Chautauqua County Greenways. As co-chairs of the Friends Advisory Board, Twan, can you explain what the Greenways group is and when it was first established?
Sure. The Friends of the Chautauqua County Greenways group is really sort of a spin-off of the 2012 County Greenway plan, which really was identifying a lot of those key components that we're trying to put into action right now. And at the time, a lot of the groups, if not all the groups that are part of this Friends group right now, were already in existence, but were essentially working in their own little silos, knowing that we all existed separately, we all had similar challenges, but not really a sort of unified platform to go there and find help. Work with the county directly with the Partnership for Economic Growth, for example, to help leverage funding for grants so that we can really scale up the efforts that are here. And what the Friends Group really tries to accomplish we're going on 4 years at this point now that we've been around, is to provide that platform, that sort of unified place where we meet regularly with all representatives of all the groups. We all come together. Last night we had a public meeting where we all have a chance to share our accomplishments, our successes, and tell the world how far we've come in the last 4 years. And it's really been sort of a very energizing kind of environment to get all this excitement about these different trail access groups. And we're talking about any way you can think about accessing the trails. We're talking mountain bikes, we're talking equestrian, we're talking winter recreation, skiing, snowmobiling, we're talking blueways as well as greenways. We're talking about the waterway trails as well, the lakes, like getting people out on kayaks and canoes. We had somebody last night there talking about how can we all work together to increase accessibility so that more people can get on the trails and enjoy themselves there. So it feels like the momentum is really sort of growing over the last few years, and this whole unified trail approach is really becoming more and more integrated with the county's economic development.
And oftentimes the trail, or maybe even the space that the trails share, is used by more than one group. So it's important that the left hand knows what the right hand is doing when it comes to, hey, this particular area in the state forest is not only being used by hikers, it's being used by equestrian, horseback riders, as well as the mountain bikers, right? So it's important that everyone knows what everybody else is doing, and maybe they can work together to pull in the right direction.
Right.
Jacob, who are all the members? I mean, you're usually a person who is very familiar with all these trails groups. I want to put you on the spot here. Who are the members currently of the Friends of Chautauqua County Greenways?
Well, we have the Baldwin Hill Ski Club, Everwild Land Trust, the Western New York Mountain Biking Association, Chautauqua County Parks Department, the Chautauqua County Equestrian Trail System, the City of Jamestown, the Chautauqua County Partnership for Economic Growth, and I believe that's it.
Equestrians?
I mentioned the equestrians, yep. Yeah, and so those are the kind of the core members. And what I like about having such a diverse group of members is that I'm hearing so many diverse opinions that I never would have thought of. And I think the diversity of opinions is really helping us strengthen our overall message. Just having kind of one person saying one thing over and over again isn't what we're about. It's about, let's think outside the box. Let's consider other people's points of view and respect everybody's, I think, desire to be outside and on the trails.
Right on. Well said. We're going to talk more about the Friends Group and also some of the initiatives you're involved in. A very important event happening later on this month, in the month of June, so we have more details about that coming up. But first, we're going to take our first break. More about the Friends of Chautauqua County Greenways coming up in just a moment. Stick around, more to come on Choose CHQ Live CHQ. And welcome back to Choose CHQ Live CHQ. Again, I'm Jason Sample, and on this episode, we're talking about the Friends of the Chautauqua County Greenways. Getting back to our guests here, Twan, let's pick up the conversation here and talk more about the Friends Group. What are some of the things the Friends Group does on an annual basis to help enhance and improve outdoor recreation in Chautauqua County?
Sure. So we meet regularly as a group just to discuss opportunities and challenges. We've got both boots on the ground, everyday challenges of trees coming down and trails needing to be rerouted for other activities, as well as organizational challenges, in terms of staffing needs, funding needs, those kind of things. So it's really great to have a sounding board where we can all sort of share our experiences. And as Jamie mentioned earlier, we have opportunities to share resources, we have opportunities to share even equipment at times to help each other, make sure that we all accomplish what we get done, because as individual groups, often we're too small and often just staffed by volunteers. So this really unites us as a much stronger entity where we can share these kind of needs and interests as well. We also have a regular public meetings a few times a year where all of the different member groups come together, send representatives, and we invite the public so that everybody can learn from the people directly what individual groups are doing, what's coming next, exciting opportunities, share successes, grants that came in, new sections of trail that were built, all that exciting stuff that's happening nonstop. So we have regular times, a few times a year, where we have a chance to share that with the general public as well. And we're very excited about a new event that's coming up. It's actually not new. It's the second time that we're doing this, our annual Chautauqua County Trails Day, which is coming up on June 20th.
All right, we'll talk more about Trails Day here a little bit later on in the program, but I wanted to back up just a moment to one of the things that you talked about the Friends Group does, and maybe Jacob can help provide some more additional information about it, and that is funding. Jacob, I know that funding is always needed when it comes to maintaining trails, and there's a lot of trails groups out there. Has there been momentum established since the Friends Group was created when it comes to identifying funding and also getting funding to address the needs of our trails groups?
Absolutely. I think one of the major points is collaboration amongst the groups working. And the foundations see the collaboration as a big part of funding the Friends Group in general. For example, the Chautauqua Rails of Trails is looking to create a master plan for our trail that stretches right now from Brockton to Sherman. We want to connect from Sherman to Clymer to Corey, PA. But we need a master plan in order to seek larger funding from, for example, the Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Foundation and larger foundations. We need to have something in place. So the funding opportunities have actually been increasing exponentially as a result of the Friends Group.
All right. Jamie, I know a question for you as somebody who oversees two of the largest trails in Chautauqua County, the overland trails in both the east and west side of the counties. How has being in the Friends Group, along with other hiking organizations like Rails to Trails, benefited your particular cause and focus?
Well, we're a little unique as a member of the Greenway, Friends of the Greenway. We're a government entity. We aren't a non-for-profit 503c. So we're very happy to be welcomed in and be a part of the group. It certainly promotes a collaboration that wouldn't exist otherwise. And we not only allows us to see what else is going on with the other groups, but it allows us to share resources. We can share infrastructure such as parking areas, parking lots, and work together. We can even share manpower or equipment as need be. It really works out well.
Right. I think one of the things too that I didn't really ask about yet, and that's the property that the trails sit on, whether it's Rails to Trails, who owns a lot of their properties. Sometimes though you have other entities that are involved, and I think a good example is the Overland Trails sit in the New York State forest system, right? Park system.
Yes. The vast majority of both the east side and west side overland trail are located on state forest land. I believe they stretch across 9 different state forests in Chautauqua County. And then there is a smaller section on private property, which we were very lucky to acquire those easements. And as you said, it's an older trail system that was 40 to 50 years ago. And that was quite a feat in the day to be able to get that all put together and have that wonderful 40-plus mile network of trails.
Right. So I guess the state is also adjacent, but still a key part of being in the Friends Group, because we want to make sure we keep them happy, as we do in all walks of life in New York State. Jacob, you're primarily involved with the Friends Group through your involvement with the partnership, but you also have a personal interest due to your passion for mountain biking.
Sure.
I know you love mountain biking. You always talk about it, and it's great to hear a lot about it. Can you talk a little about how Chautauqua County has become a destination for mountain bikers here in Western New York and the northeast part of the country?
Sure. I was the president of the Western New York Mountain Bicycling Association from 2018 to 2022 or 23. And there was no movement in Chautauqua County with WNIMBA, the Western New York Mountain Bicycling Association. We didn't have a volunteer service stewardship agreement in Chautauqua County. And in 2019, I established a VSA with the New York State DEC and WNIMBA. And from there, the 2 trail systems that we primarily maintain, Harris Hill Extension and Whalen Memorial State Forest, all of a sudden became kind of a spotlight. New trails, that no one really had known about before. So what happened then is I started applying for some funding, and we got $50,000 or $60,000 to really build some unique trails in Whalen Memorial State Forest. First time we've ever built machine-built trails in Chautauqua County. And one of the trails is called Blue Heron, offers a unique experience. It's more of a flow trail. It has bigger features, jumps and berms and things like that, that you just can't find anywhere else. So having that unique experience has really brought a lot of people into Chautauqua County who want to mountain bike, and a few of my friends are actually moving here because of the mountain biking opportunities. So that kind of also lends itself to the economic development as well.
Right. Just getting on a tangent here, there's mountain biking, but there's also fat biking.
Fat biking as well, yes.
What is fat biking for the uninitiated?
Fat biking is the ability to ride 4-inch tires on snow. And what we do is we groom the trails in Chautauqua County. We groom at Long Point State Park, Harris Hill Extension, and at Whalen Memorial State Forest. We have roughly 45 miles, including Loud Performance, which is the most in New York State, and in terms of not having to charge anybody, it's the most in the country. So we really are in a unique position to offer year-round recreational opportunities for mountain bikers. And really, what's great about fat biking is there are no roots, there are no rocks. You just are ripping on snow, and sometimes you average between 9 and 10 miles an hour on a ride, which is incredible. You're on like 3 feet of packed snow, which is a lot of fun. So
Right on. Sounds like a lot of fun. I've done a lot of mountain biking, never done fat biking, so there's always a first time. Right here in Chautauqua County,
Right.
You don't have to travel north to the Great White North to participate either. That's awesome. I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take another break, and on the other side, we're going to talk more about the Friends Group, talk more about the CHQ Trails Days and all that good stuff. So plenty more to come. Again, we're talking with the Friends of Chautauqua County Greenways on this month's episode of Choose CHQ Live CHQ, and there is more on the way. Stick around. And welcome back to Choose CHQ Live CHQ. I'm Jason Sample, and again, we're talking with the Friends of the Chautauqua County Greenways Group. I wanted to talk about the CHQ Trails Day in just a moment, but first, we've talked about hiking, we've talked about mountain biking. There's a few other things that we haven't quite hit upon yet. One of which, Twan, is something I know that you're involved with, but maybe it's adjacent to what Everwild does, and that is the waterway trail system here in Chautauqua County. You've been really involved with trying to make sure that this is all cleared out, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so we talk about greenways a lot, but we're in our heads fill in the blueways section as well. There's obviously this massive connection through our landscape here. We have some amazing waterways, the Chautauqua River, Casadega Creek, Conowongo Creek, which through our Everwild Land Trust, we're working really hard to protect. We're acquiring land to protect that corridor because it's critically important for our water quality, for our environmental health, for the entire county, but it's also bisected by these beautiful waterways that have historically not been very well maintained and were really impassable. They used to historically be used a lot. Actually, they honestly used to be the biggest industrial driver here for this county. This is what we use to power our equipment, to power our factories, to move all the lumber to the furniture industries. The sawmills were powered by the water. But unfortunately, deferred maintenance and lack of attention for decades really caused the waterways to fall in disrepair. Sort of an added 1-2 punch became the arrival of the emerald ash borer, which killed about 25% of the trees across our landscape. They're all dying and rolling down a hill, and there tend to be a waterway at the bottom. So we've been dealing with massive log jams that impacted negatively the water quality. We had erosion, we had flooding, but we also were not able to use these waterways. So for the last 3 years, we've been coordinating and managing crews that were out in the waterways to remove those hazards. And as of last fall, we were able to remove the final hazard of the waterways. So we're talking 50 plus miles of waterways that were passable again. They're not clean, not everything is out because a lot of the trees that are in there also create habitat for fish, for example. So we'd like to encourage more people to go out fishing, enjoy the waterways in different ways. But of course, this is an ongoing, very dynamic situation. Trees continue to fall down. We're just coming out of a winter right now, so we're about to get out there again to see what the waterways look like at this point. But the reality really is that we've managed to remove probably 60 years of neglect from these waterways. So at this point, we're at a point where we can start to maintain these waterways again in a way that's hopefully is feasible, so we can really build on that.
Excellent. And then get more kayakers out and canoeists out on the waterways and enjoy it as a recreational activity. Another group really quickly here is the equestrian group. We don't want to forget about our friends who are passionate about horseback riding. I guess there's no shortage of trail and opportunity in Chautauqua County for horseback riders, right? And it's thanks to, in part, what the Friends Group does.
Absolutely. There's two major trail systems, one at Boutwell Hill State Forest and one in North Harmony State Forest. What's really nice about the one in Boutwell is that it also incorporates private property. And it goes into Cherry Creek. So you have that kind of recreation and business connection where the equestrians can actually just go right into town and get a beverage or whatever after their ride. So I think what's really interesting about working with the equestrians is that as a mountain biker, sometimes we've been seen as like combating two different user groups, but we've been working together in a way that I am surprised and excited to see what happens in the future. It's been an absolutely phenomenal experience working with the equestrians.
Wonderful. So I want to get back to the CHQ Trails Day for our final question, but really quickly, Jacob, okay, I'm somebody who's new to Chautauqua County or somebody who lives in South County, but I want to learn more about where all these trails are at. What can I do if I want to learn about the trails in Chautauqua County?
Well, in 2024, we released our new interactive map. You can find that on chqtrails.org. And what that allows you to do is go online and you can plot out your adventure, so to speak. And then while you're on the trail, you have the opportunity to download the Avenza app and you can see exactly where you are, and it uses GPS, not cell service, so you'll never get lost. And that's a unique experience or unique feature in Chautauqua County. I don't think too many other places have such a robust mapping system where every trail is mapped out.
Anything open to the public, you'll find it at chqtrails.org.
Yep.
I'll hold you to it.
Okay.
Hold myself to it too, because I'm partially involved with helping to make sure it stays up and running. Final question is just CHQ Trails Day. What can folks expect when it comes to, what is it this year, June 20th?
June 20th, yep, it's a Saturday. We have, the number keeps growing, so I can't even give you a number right now, but all of the different participating trail groups in the Friends Group are organizing individual events at their favorite locations. We have buggy rides, we have mountain bike rides, we're hoping to have some paddles as well, some kayak rides as well, but we also have family-friendly hikes, nature hikes, we have some lesser abled, shorter hikes for people that would like to get out but don't necessarily know where to go. It really spans the gamut here. And the really exciting thing too is that we'd like to do it across the width of Chautauqua County so that you never have to go far to go actually and enjoy the outdoors.
Which is just the way it is, always is every day,
Exactly.
Not just on June 20th. So if folks want to learn more, they can go to choosechq.com/CHQ Trails Day. They'll find a complete itinerary of all the activities that are taking place and all the participating organizations. So check that website out. I think we've covered all the bases. Jamie, is there anything else you wanted to add? I think you talked the least here.
No, that's all right. These guys did a great job. They covered a lot of territory.
Right on. You've all covered a lot of territory, as do our trails. 250 plus miles of recreational trails. That's not including the snowmobile trails. When you throw them in there, it's over 600, I think. So we've got a lot of outdoor opportunity here, and I want to thank you all for doing your part to make it happen. Again, Twan, Jacob, and Jamie, thanks for joining us today on Choose CHQ, Live CHQ, and we'll have another program next month right here on CCS TV. Thanks for joining us and watching.